So I think you know about the iron catastrophe in the beginning of the planet formations. All the planets are molten, so they say yes.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of molten planets
Yeah.
in the beginning of creation. Many of them, yeah. Very big star, nice. That one's going to run away. And anyway, I think these shift around. And before we get to this stage, do you think that it's possible that perhaps there was an old star before Earth and the star Ra that we know now? Perhaps before this was created. Do you think that? I don't think we've been around long enough to experience it. So maybe we've seen a handful of stars pop, but not quite the same way. So do you think that the universe just made one star when it started? In the beginning? No, probably made thousands of them in the beginning. You know, when it starts, it grabs a lot of stuff together, and there's not many rocky things in the beginning, and it hasn't yet been made. It's a very anyway. So all of these runaway effects lead up to a point now. But let's just say that we look at it. I think there were two star systems is what created our, and I think the stars explode. At the moment, we're seeing a few go off. That would be understandable, but I think that the real viewing will happen when one star pops, another one close by pops, and another one pops. I think that's what we're going to end up seeing, is a lot of stars popping, quite a lot of one after the other. It's been very calm, hasn't it? And yeah, there's been a few go off, a few are being created, don't get me wrong, but I think that a lot of the stars, we've got to look at their ages, right?
Yeah.
How many near us? How old are they?
Yeah.
If the dinosaurs saw the nebula blow from Betelgeuse and come into formation, and we're here now observing it fail. So Betelgeuse could explode within, 10 years? 10,000 years? But any more than that, and we're starting to push into a realm of probably going to be way past it. It's going to be more sooner than later. Yeah. But I think when it goes, I think another one is going to go, and another one is going to go. And if our star is older then, if the dinosaurs saw that blow off, and we're going to perhaps, maybe not in our lifetimes, but maybe in the next generation, or maybe a couple after that, maybe a few down the line, are going to see Betelgeuse go. What age is our star? If Betelgeuse blew its nebula when dinosaurs were around, and we're seeing it fail. And that means that our star has been around for a little bit longer. So age-wise, could Betelgeuse go and then your star go, next in line? It doesn't need to explode in our terms of now. One goes now. Next one goes, it doesn't work like that. No, it's now, a little bit of time passes, and when the debris move, you have another. And then when these rendezvous, I think that's when we start to get a mix in formation. Because how did Earth get so much water and nowhere else did? Why is it so odd? It's almost like there's a lot of hydrogen. So perhaps we had they say supernova was in the neck of the woods. Yeah, but I think the supernova, when it exploded, I think that it was one of these random events, perhaps deliberate. It perhaps took out a younger star. Lots of rocky material come from the supernova, being, after all, pretty big fucking star after all. And we have a younger star that didn't quite get mixing all of its debris together. And then this is why we've got a lot of rock, block of silica and everything else. And we also got a lot of water. And we've got a lot of hydrogen, which technically Jupiter shouldn't have all that hydrogen, should it really? Technically. And Mars and Earth, and most abundant is hydrogen. We could say that this is abundant in the universe. There comes a point where not really, yeah? So what's stars popping and what's it blowing out? Some are creating more denser, heavy objects. They're more bigger, they live more faster, but they really get going. Some are a bit more slower. You're cooking elements, but the ingredients are slightly different to go into the pot, and the cooking time is another ingredient, and also the cooling. Radiation, magnetism, what's brushing against the belts. That's ironic. And the iron catastrophe, when everything sinks down. And what do we got? Iron, nickel, steel? Or no, is it steel? Might be, whatever. Let's keep going. And this generates a magnetic field when it's heated beyond a certain point. Could you imagine having a lot of metals in a pot? Okay, and we see it, and we have to separate them based on their boiling point, yeah? But what happens when you have a lot of different metals and you have the dense one, let's say iron, and you've got this molten, what happens to all the other? It must blend into this mix, yes? And it's not uniform. Don't think that iron's going to be like this and something else is going to be around. No, no. Perhaps, yes, but I think it's going to be more chaotic than that, like boiling. Convection, right? It's got to come somewhere to cool down and drop back down again, right? That's just the physics of it. So when we look at Venus and all of the planets were all heated, Venus looks like a planet that stayed heated for a longest period of time. And all of the geology on there, if that's right, geology, yeah. It looks like what we're seeing on it because it's uniform age. And all of those lava flows on there. What we don't understand is when rock is hot, it acts like a river. There are currents. One part of it's pulling this way, one bit of it wants to move this way. Some other heated pieces are coming up to cool down and drops back down again. And some of this stuff's going to stick out, tumble, and it's going to perhaps cool a little bit quicker than anything else. And the rest of it, and it might make a little bit of a fracture, and slowly but surely as it begins to cool down, it creates, this piece of rock just lifts up. You've seen volcanoes when they sort of come up and they sort of build a shell around them and pop out of themselves and then begin to fill this way. You sort of see this on Venus, don't you? With these massive ridges that appear. Even volcanoes, isn't this convection? They say pressure builds under the surface. Yeah, that may always be true. But also somewhere along the lines, that heat's got to go somewhere, hasn't it? Where's too hot? How does it regulate? And the Earth, we have a lot of water. It's funny, we overlook something when it comes to water. It gives us more mass than we actually have because it's able to pressurize. If you remove all of the water off the Earth, how do you think it would be? Well, you'd say very hot, very desert, very barren and everything else. Yes, all jokes aside, let's remove all life out of the equation. What happens if you remove water? We've just lost a heavy amount of mass, right?
It will release the soil or whatever, the surface, and it will start puffing for the, not like mass, but the...
The atmosphere, it is still mass though. Water comes together under pressure, which is actually gases, lots of gases. They come together, and when you keep on gassing and pressurizing, it's got to collapse down on itself and it creates liquids, So I always call Jupiter Earth's twin, right? That's just the way it is. A sister Terra and, brother Jupiter. The weather. Yes, Jupiter is a little bit more predictable, but there again, that's because you're predicting it on a larger scale and a longer scale. The Earth is a bit more smaller. However, I think that if we look at Jupiter and Earth, and if we were to sweat and puff all of the water up into an atmosphere, now look at it from Jupiter. Now let's have a look. Again, it's going to be... So I think that that's why we have a moon, and most of the others perhaps do not. What we don't make up for in volume or visual size, we're making up for in compressed and denser gases that make a mass. So we know water's very heavy. Trying to fucking pick that stuff up, it is incredibly heavy because it's very dense, very compact. Now, if we lift up one bin of water and you can barely move with it and it wants to move you around, you think how heavy that is. And then we have to look at the planet and ask, how heavy is the planet? With this water, and how much more lighter without it would it be? And again, when we look at that, it seems so stupid, doesn't it? But liquid behaves, and everything in this universe can become a liquid. It is a liquid universe after all, and when it dries, it crystallizes. So we live in a liquid environment, and perhaps iron, we don't think of it. We think of it as a very tough object. It doesn't break. We don't see it in its liquid form very often. And yes, we may be able to heat it up here on the Earth. Don't get me wrong, but compared to a freaking star or a planet, I don't think we're anywhere near in the sheer quantity of how much is being heated. Here's another thing, right? So let's say if iron is, let's just say, I'm just going to give a random number, okay, 500 degrees, yes? And let's say steel, and what else did we say? Nickel, yes? Anyway, just to name a three of the most, let's just say that. Let's say that at 500 degrees iron, in an example, don't quote me. Let's say 250, the steel begins to liquefy, and then let's say nickel is 150 C's is going to melt, right? So if we heat up 150 C, this is going to stay a solid, not a liquid, right? So if we heat it up again, this is going to become a super liquid, very viscous, right? Incredibly viscous now, because now we start getting heat isotope. Becomes really hot, you now got a super liquid. Liquids change when it becomes more hotter, just as they do if they become more colder. Perhaps these solids become more solid and they break apart. Anyway, let's keep going with this. So let's say we heat it up to 500. These things are going to be going absolutely freaking nuts. And all of these particles in here, in this mix, are going to be, some of the steel is going to be smacking into the iron when it's trying to convect. All of these things are going to be hitting into each other. The nickel's going to be bouncing around. We're going to see convection over here, but we're going to see a different type of convection here. This one's going to respond this way. This one's going to want to try and get up a bit more slowly, which might push an iron one up, and the iron might come down faster and hit into it. So we've got mini star happening, but not enough to cause fusion, but enough to this jostling to keep going, plus with the moon aggravating those, and it's got to release this as energy. Because bashing around, what's another way to release it? Energy, dynamo it, get it, create this, which then exacerbates it. It's a very interesting thing. So the more we heat, so at 500 degrees, what is this doing? So we understand it with water. So if we begin to heat it up at a slow boil, look at what it does. Very slow, barely moving. But now we adjust the temperature. Whoa, it's almost jumping. And if you keep on going with it, and you take it above what a stove can do, you're adding in 6 stoves equivalent, to the power, the energy. What will water do in that aspect? Well, it's going to evaporate very quickly, but let's assume that we build it into a massive column that allows it to expand, and there's enough water in there to rain back down into the tub to see how violent this water is going to get. Now, assuming that we can keep it in this environment, it is not going to explode, and every time the water steams, you add in a bit more. Steams, add in a bit more. Keep adding in the water until you've got enough dropping, like it's going to rain in the system, and it's going to come back into liquid. It's going to escape as gas and fall down. While one is rising up to the top to cool off, the other one's dropping down. So you've got this constant flow of water. When you get into that, you then start understanding that the more heat energy you add, the more violent it becomes, and the more it is pushing around. So again, power this into a turbine, and you're going to get more speed. More heat, more speed. More pressure, more turbine power. This is just the way it is. So we've got to understand this in the earth, right? It's not exactly that these chemicals can just, it's not like these metals can just disappear. There's no way possible for it to disappear. Even when iron rusts, it's not gone. It's just broke down into a form in which is now less understood, more difficult to, So, when we look at this inside the planet, we've got to understand that there's a lot of different stuff bollarcing around, and we look back at Venus again, and now if we think whatever its core is containing, the rock is a liquid. There are different mediums in it. If this is the center and it's heated up this much, what do you think rock is going to be in that aspect? What do you think water is going to be if there was any? Vapor is going to... And what you really do is, this is fascinating as well, that when you heat up a planet... there's loads of water in the other planets. If you could just only squeeze them and like a sponge, release all of the moisture out of it, there would be loads. Actually, quite a bit. You would make enough to support at least humans for a very long time in a circulatory system, just by squeezing and dripping off the drops from a planet. But Earth got a lot of oxygen, it got a lot of hydrogen, and too much. And it's so random that it's almost like Earth is the most oddest one out of all of them, with the liquids. So was it in the right place at the right time when a supernova, boom, boom, boom? Let's understand that, and perhaps at the right moment, being Earth's trajectory of being created was in the right positioning to meet a rendezvous of a star from supernova blow this way, and perhaps a younger one that comes this way. And now we've got a very different amount of ingredients coming together. Here's the only way I can really explain this. How many different types of star do you think there are? Trick question, because they all have different isotopes. One star, one isotope. Well, it's oxygen, pretty much the same from one neck of the woods to the other. It functions pretty much the same. But the oxygen molecule, if we want to call it that, might ask you Are you like that other human standing over there? Because you look the same, you act the same. Well, no, we're actually different. You have a different isotope to me. I have a different isotope to everybody. Well, we all got little unique isotopes about ourselves, haven't we? If you think about it. So a bit like that in the universe. So when we understand stars then, these different isotopes, well, here you are. Let's have a play God's game, shall we? Let's say we take some of this from here, this from here, this from here, this from here, this from here. So you understand about, on some of the other videos was talking about moving stars in order to garner up more heat and different stuff like that. Yep. That's taking an average star that's already existing and you move some other stars that are already existing, bring them closer, aim them around, and we want to stop anything from escaping. We want to try and cover that. I know it seems impossible, but let's just go with it. You want to wrap that whole thing up so that all of that energy is concentrated into a star. Mm-hmm. And we want to make some super isotopes here. Yeah. Like we really want to get this stuff really, really going. Mm-hmm. How far can we take it on the boiling point? What is too hot? Mm-hmm. How can we make too hot? Yeah. What is the hottest temperature in the universe? Mm-hmm. What's the coldest? Mm-hmm. Well, that's a bit of a trick question because you might say this star over here. Mm-hmm. But I'd argue with you and say that if I brought all of those stars close together, which you could, believe in yourselves, believe in your species, you can do a lot of stuff. And move these stars together, you've now added extra candles to the mix that would never naturally be there. And you'll find a way to keep them close together, or the outcome of that is going to be a hell of a lot different. And when that pops, douche. Now, let's say if we build our own stars, we collect only these types of isotopes, and these isotopes are going to go into the creation of this star. Have you noticed that I've just changed the star? Now, any other star that's in the Soho, in the whole universe, now this one is very unique. Why? Because it's got selected only one kind of isotope, one second type of what happens with that? Because at the moment we see it as stars are a mix of many different explosions coming together. Yeah. Now, I got to ask you the question, that if you could take all of the stars and start now, let's say we go from neutrinos, supernova, giants, all dwarfs as well. You know, I know that comes from a giant, goes into a dwarf, but it's still a stage. Still want to take that too, because it's still a star. Just a different process. And therefore, is the star when it's young the same as it when it's old? No, completely different. Are you the same as what you were when you were young as to what you were old? No, you filled your head with wisdom. Bit like information, right? So you're a little bit more wiser, wisdom, and you know the world, you know where you're at. So pretty much. Let's say if we take all of these different stars and I say, okay, I want some of this one. I want a little bit of this one. I want a little bit of this one. A little bit of this one. What's the outcome? New star. Yeah. New star. From all of the materials that come out of here. Now let's say you add your star to the list. Okay, now I want to take a piece of this. I want to mix a bit of this one with a bit of this one with a bit of this one. Now I want to take this star and do the same again 3 times. Maybe 4 times. Maybe I even want to do it 6. Who knows? Now I want to take this star, this star, this star, and I want to make them orbit one another. I want to take all of that energy and add it into this one. Now there's going to be a main effect is going to happen to this one. Yeah. Absolutely true. But did you know there's also a change in these stars that orbit it too? Yeah. You can't have it where you have the energy focused on one and it doesn't exhaust a star very quickly and therefore changes the outcome. You made a faster star. You're putting the energy out. You're pulling out what you can. You're forcing the star to push out what it could. Imagine it this way. So a normal star is just a standard element in an oven. Okay. What happens if we add these around? You've now added extra elements into the oven. How's the outcome of the food going to be? Perhaps it's going to be scorched. Maybe. It's going to cook them up. Yeah. So what happens then if we put in a load of containers around the other stars, and let's assume that we could find a way to push some flow through it. Let's say that we find a way to exacerbate solar winds and try and use a process of knocking off the particles off the star to add more bombardment. So if we understand that, there's a lot of particles coming off of the star. Let's say we find a way to amplify that and make more of them. And not only more of them, we're now aiming it through laser series of bits of glass, right? It's a fascinating thing. The most accurate way of counting time is using sand in glass. But you have to be able to use the sand. You have to be able to understand it, be able to melt it, form it into glass, bring it all together, create a structure, and then fill it with the very thing that you made it from. And it is very accurate at telling you time. Per turn, per turn, per term. Now that's going to be more better than any clock. No daylight, none of this sort of, per grain. Interesting thing is time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, and now you've got more stars coming from this process, and now you've drawn these ones. What happens when you exhaust a star? Or what happens when you exhaust a person? A horse? Well, it's no longer the same horse it was, right? You can make it run. What happens if you overutilize it? Well, you can also seriously harm it, but still, how's it going to be after all of that? It's going to be weaker? It's going to be stronger? Because you're working it, right? Perhaps if you did this to the horse, but not all the way. You're just utilizing it bit by bit. I think it's going to get stronger. Bit by bit, it's going to get stronger and stronger, and hopefully be able to start to change a new dynamic of stars. I wonder if they learn this information. That's an interesting thing. Anyway, so now you're starting to make these stars. What's the outcome? Because it's now more hotter. More hotter, more heat. Can you go past iron? Naturally. We very much struggle to do it in a laboratory, right? They get very far, absolutely, but there's a lot of data missing. You can say that perhaps it's because it's done in a lab, but when we compare this to the way they make diamonds, okay? You make a diamond, it's very artificial, it's very shit, it's good, don't get me wrong, but we got a long way to go before we reach what we are looking for, right? To make a diamond. And the ones that are created fail. So when we're making fusion in a laboratory somewhere, and it fails because we've got to add in new things, well, it might be a good process, but might not be the whole story, because we might not just have enough energy going into that to give the outcome that you're desiring. So of course it's going to fall apart and this, that, and the other, yeah? Sure, you stabilize it to go faster than a star, interesting as it is, but how do we know it's gone the right way? Is there another way? That's another question. So, and then artificially, that's artificial, versus natural, under the circumstances, our little bit of energy and effort into a massive, colossal amount. I mean, we're probably going to get a different outcome, and probably more of a stable one, and perhaps more of an ingredient that is more than what our labs could create. Take this with chemicals, take this with E-numbers, take this with food products, keep going.
Yeah.
It's a good job, it's a good effort, but it's nowhere near there. And we have to admit that, don't we? Yeah. We all have to admit that. It's not there. And do we want it to be there? And the answer is yes. So that's what the stride is for then, isn't it? But I think it would be far more accurate to do it this way than any other way. So yeah, with Venus, interesting sort of thing that I think what you're seeing on Venus is the leftovers of this convection, and certain things are going to cool down faster than others. And perhaps they're more in the... So I think with this bombardment and smacking around on perhaps Venus, I think it had a magnetic field, very strong one. Yeah. Actually, an incredible one, probably more so than Earth's, but can we go back in time to find that out? That's an interesting thing. Did it have a moon? Maybe. Earth has a moon, which is very unusual, I think. We've got a lot of water, also unusual. And something very unusual about water is it compacts when it reacts, what do you call it? The gases, when they react with each other, rather than... they seem to uniform themselves and collapse down on themselves, don't they? And they seem to pack themselves away. And when we look at some of the depths of the ocean, I mean, just to bring a cup from there, would be like Niagara Falls. Yeah, Niagara Falls. One cup from the bottom there, if you could contain all of that pressure and even get down to the isotopes past 10, let's say you scoop up a load of that, if it's even possible, put a lid on it and bring it to the surface. If you were to open that, and assuming that it could take that pressure of this container, and you were to open it, I'm pretty sure that Niagara Falls would come out of that cup. It would be like a magician's trick. And it would keep on going probably for a week. Who knows? But under that much pressure, it's got to unpack itself very quickly. It's like the reverse of a balloon, blowing a balloon. But we're using a one where we're taking a balloon of water and we're sealing it. We're opening up a container underneath the ocean at the depth of isotope 10 on the liquids. We take a scoop of it and then we put the lid on. Yeah. And then we bring it up. You've just made a balloon. Yeah. A very interesting water balloon that when you let go of it. Now, I often wonder whether you could make a rocket with this process, that if you were to take that water and bring it up and turn it upside down and you want to twizzle it at the bottom, and that water's going to come out at such a ferocity, yes? The object's going to lift. is it possible just by utilizing water on the planet
Yeah.
to go down deep enough to cope with all of that pressure? It sounds very strange, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But stranger things have happened. And if you were to take that water from that, bring it to the surface under all of that pressure, undo it, put a payload on top of it, how quick will it shoot that up into the sky? And any water that falls down, and anytime you've taken that cup away from it, water has already rushed in to fill it. Tell me, what type of fuel is that? Now imagine this into a power station. I can give you energy for a very long time, but you've got to be able to achieve it. Could you imagine this? Just pressurizing water and then depressurizing it into a turbine. Just by using a floating system and a depressurization system that goes down and takes a scoop, you've got the pressure, depressurization powers a turbine, and each one of these comes up, connects to the turbine, shoots the water through it like a massive geyser, and once that one's done, it drops down, another one replaces it, so the system never slows down. And in this, it's basically like boiling water without actually boiling it. We're making convection, but we're utilizing it in a way that extracts convection by utilizing the cooling process, but we're turning it upside down. Then we can make a rocket. Whether it would escape gravity, I think it will. Or how far will it go? And it's a reusable. Think about what you could do with this. That would be an interesting sort of process, wouldn't it? Very, very fascinating. And imagine this water flying up into the air and coming down with such a, an impact that you're oxidizing then the ocean, aren't you? Because it's going to rain down. So you're basically creating rain. This is fascinating. It depends which way you turn it. Or if not, you're going to make a payload and a rocket, off it goes. You just got to be able to understand the pressure, which could help in a lot of things, because if you're able to do that, think about what you could scoop out of Jupiter. It will prepare you, metallic. I honestly think Jupiter needs siphoning off and shrinking down, which it will. And I think it will be very unimpressive. I think it will be more like a Earth, to be honest. If you could collapse down. So would you think that medicine on Jupiter would be oxygen? The hydrogen would bind to the oxygen and it would begin to compact the atmosphere down.
It would rain.
And well, let's just put it this way. Let's say if we had a way of making oxygen from hydrogen, but it's random, but there you are. Let's say we found a massive lump of, as soon as you put this into Jupiter, it should bind with the hydrogen, cause the pressure, and this will liquefy, which then should start to shrink and collapse the atmosphere down, which is a bit like winter. If you can understand that the atmosphere starts to collapse down, and that's why we see a lot of ice forming. It's collapsed atmosphere. Look at Pluto, puffs up, shrinks, puffs up, shrinks. Atmosphere collapses down onto the planet, puffs up, collapses down. Take Earth. Can you imagine that? Sweating it. All of that water. How big would our mass be? What would our core turn into? Well, it'd probably vaporize rock. Vaporize, but would it ever come back? Yes. Oh, as long as it never left. It's still part of it. It's going to change and go into something else, perhaps. Will it start fusion? Maybe. Fascinating. Europa, again. That's a fascinating one, isn't it? What does that remind you of, Europa?
Remind me of?
Yeah.
North Pole.
A little bit like the North Pole. Yeah. All those fractures in it. You see, Io is affected, yes? And it's squeezing and stretching and squeezing. Io is being squeezed by Jupiter. Do you think there's more to that story than meets the eye?
Maybe. I don't really know about it.
See, we look at some of the closest objects that are orbiting Saturn.
Yeah. Are they doing similar stuff?
Why do the shepherds not create volcanoes?
Are they too tiny?
Maybe it's possible. But you would think that they would. And then if we start looking at Uranus, and also, is it Triton, also on the furthest of Neptune? There are geysers rising up on one of these particular moons, but not on Europa.
Maybe it's too deep. Maybe there's some bubbling under the surface of the liquid or whatever, the ice, whatever that is.
Yeah, but we got a lot of changing stories from one neck of the woods to the other, to the other, to the other. One thing fits here, works, but it doesn't fit here. So something's wrong with the equation coming out. How can you have it so that it's working over here like this, but not over there like that? There's something missing. A mechanism is not complete.
Could it be the mass?
Well, is it possible it could be mass? Yeah. Yeah, and then we've got the moon as well. So, you know, and compared for size and space and distance and everything else, I think it was a few 1600s maybe. Wasn't there reports of lights on the moon? Volcanoes, they think they concluded it too. Now, how true this is, I don't know, but I think it was 1600s, maybe it was back in even further than that. There were reports that go around, people saying that there were strange lights on the moon, so it would appear. And when they went there, and they found orange soil, didn't they? Do you remember they were on that Apollo mission? I can't remember which one it was. It's orange! It's orange! We found orange soil! Oh my god, it's really orange! You could see it on the new rendered versions that they've done. Yeah, that orange then backs up what some of the ancients, well, not ancients, but our past was saying, that there was some level of light display on the moon. So, yes, volcanicity, interesting, but our moon is moving, right? So, what do you reckon the moon was doing when it was closer? Was it like, let's say, Io?
Maybe it had some volcanic activity.
Because both of these were hot, weren't they? They're very hot if they were to hit to each other. Constantly changing surface, but Venus doesn't have this erosion moving, and yes, some of these look like mountain ridges, canyons that look like they've been carved by water. Yes, because when things are molten, they behave like water, because liquid is a liquid. If there was ice, it's not really behaving quite like a liquid, is it? Not really. So, and then shock waves and jumbling, things get more hotter than other things, are going to race. Perhaps they're going to be bumping into each other like crazy. Not enough to cause fusion, but enough to cause heat. Enough to cause a magnetic field, enough to cause, like solar panels perhaps, sparking between knocking one out, knocking one in, yes? Out, sorry, I meant. Doosh, pushes it out, and that creates a spark. So why would it be any different, considering all of the planets are failed stars, that when they hit into each other, when they're very hot in the core, that they're going to be discharging an electrical discharge, also generating heat. Fascinating, isn't it? I didn't find that beautiful. So, yeah, I honestly think that Venus then, well, it's basically almost like freezing a star. So, yeah, what do you reckon the currents are like on the sun?
I don't know. The corona is spitting, so there must be some movement.
Yeah.
And they always show you only the disk and around it, how it's spitting up and back in.
There must be a hell of a current in that. No ifs, buts, or maybes. There must be one hell of a current. It must convect in some way. Releasing energy is what it's got to do.
I think there's something deep one, something in medium maybe, and something that goes on the top, and that's why it spits, because it's churning more closer to the surface, isn't it?
Could you imagine if we look at the star, and if it's got indeed it has, let's assume, it contains darkness in it. And if we think about how much is radiating into that cold spot, and this is how much is radiating out of it, could you imagine if it didn't have that? This heat would be unbearable. And I think that would end up that would be too much, I think. So, yeah, the planet has to cool down, and I think it uses the atmosphere to do so. If we look at Jupiter, quite clearly, look at that. If that is indeed pre-stages or before a star, look at those currents. And that is air. That is a gas. Could you imagine that metallic liquid in there? That thing must be moving some. And again, which one's aggravating who? Is it the denser object called water, liquid, that is moving the atmosphere because the atmosphere is lighter and therefore is governed by the liquid? Air, gas, light. Then liquid must have a higher authority over air. When it moves, a lot must move out of its way in order for it to fill in these areas. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So, currents. We never look at that. I think that's what it is, and it must have cooling. And we look at our atmosphere as well. Now we got the jet stream. That's a cooling process.
And we have water current, and some of them are cold. And
when that stops, your core is buckling. the moon is too far away. Ignore those signs and you don't have long left. That is the clear sign to get off your planet. No ifs and no buts.
Work on it.
You'll no longer have an ice age. The hot age will continue and it will not stop. It will accelerate and it will exacerbate some things. And therefore, in cycles, we can get tricked into believing it's just another cycle and it will all rectify itself one day. So we always must err on caution when we're looking at cycles. Must always err on caution. A runaway effect can happen. A lot of, especially now when everything's dry and it becomes burning and everything gets hot and you get a big black layer on the rock and everything else. Indeed, these are times. If that all catches, and it's all the way around the world, it will create more carbon dioxide. This triggers on knockoff effects. It will regulate the whole planet and all of the life forms on it shall be, well, altered. Some will adapt, others will not. Who's in control of that? Well, that's up to you to decide. If it's you, then you will take charge. You know, that's the species way, right? To leave the planet. Yes, but a very, very bad situation can happen from this. If it goes too far, it's a knock-on effect of cluster after cluster after lots of CO2. Good luck. Because what are you going to, you know, it starts to hit in, and then we're losing nature, vegetation, so the things that you eat start to run down and less and less. A lot of things rely on this thing called nature, a lot of it, almost nearly everything, to regulate a lot of stuff. We lose it. Well, never mind the Stone Age. It's more like the beginning age, before life rose.
But even Stone Age needs nature, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got to be careful with these cycles and make sure they're behaving as they should. Could you imagine without a magnetic field? If we didn't spin, we would have already, life wouldn't be possible. If things don't spin, you don't have, we take it for granted. One side of the planet is hot, one side of it's cold. As it rotates. Our rotation is not fast enough. So you can also rotate the planet faster. This is a possibility, by the way. Introduce several moons that have an eclipse every now and then. Just blocks out the light in the maximum of summer. Just orbits, comes in, just knocks out the light. That's all it does. It transits past the star, as opposed to moving anything near it. Because the thing is, if you put something to shade the star, the problem is, what are you going to use? Something dark? Well, that darkness is going to absorb a lot of that light, heat, and it's going to burn. It's not going to last forever. So if you had an object that rotated but also orbited, it wouldn't cook, and it would come back the following year. And the following year, which would hopefully strove to knock some of the heat out, or at least make it a lot bearable. However, complacency will happen. People will think, it's pretty cool, this. And you're trying to get away from something that's very, it just doesn't seem to like life very much. This universe perhaps doesn't really like it very much at all. You got to understand that it likes to keep it very rare. No bad experiences at all, whatever, with it. No trouble with this stuff at all. So it is very reserved. You got more abundance of a lot of other stuff. You want to go and look for diamonds and say, look how rare these are. But let's look at each other. Let's look at this planet and let's look at nature. That is more rare than diamonds. And therefore, which one should hold the highest value? A stone, that this universe is fucking knocking them up everywhere, or life?
It's life, isn't it?
It is life. It's always life. Life first. Precious stuff, all of that, later. And it's nice to have both. Don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have both and fucking more. And why would you not? Everybody wants more, don't they? Well done you, because you're in a universe that likes to give you more. Just perhaps not more life, and maybe not more time, and who knows? Yeah, so anyway, so life goes off in many different directions, and this process here of making new stars, you can make new stars that perhaps the universe has never made before, and may never ever make. But through you, it does. And there's a new training, and what are the elements that come out of it? And remember, this universe with the neutral zone around it, yes, the whole of the universe that allows all of this stuff to happen in. What happens if I make some super elements? No one on this universe has ever done the fusion. Let's say if anyone secretly, you won't need to do it very big either. Let's say if you secretly had made a nuclear fusion program very successful. Let's say if you went past what is iron, well, you were way past it, and these objects stayed, and you started bulking all of this stuff up. Mind you, perhaps lowering the water levels a little bit to do so, actually quite a lot, and putting more stuff together. Let's just assume that this is, and just sit there very quietly, just running away with all of this stuff, making all of these elements that none of this universe has ever seen before. You know what? Anything that I make out of that, there's a new behavior being born.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know what it is? It's called a force. People don't respect one another. We don't. We're just terrible. You respect forces. That is true. Elements. Powerful elements. Now remember, you make something that this universe has never seen before. The star is going to behave to it in a way. Is it going to be able to touch that object? No. We'll never get hot enough. We'd never have enough energy at this stage to even create that. Who's now ahead? You're now ahead of the universe. And now, because of that power, things have to respond in a certain way to you. You can touch it, but it most certainly, none of it can touch you. And now the behavior has changed. Ye's who wields all of these magical things and are able to put themselves inside here like a cocoon, like a protective wrap. Well, what in this universe, who's the highest dominance becomes? If all the cycles and everything else are transpiring around you, who is now a stronger force? Why does it leave you alone? Because it has to behave. It has to respect you as the force you are. It can't touch you. Now that is an interesting thing, isn't it? That's true power, that is. And things have to respond in a certain way. There's a chance that if you make this clump of something and you throw it at a planet, it annihilates it. Makes a hole, travels straight clean through it. Because this is strong. This is more powerful than all of you said to the planets. This object here is more than any of you stars. I could put this in you and you will not be able to change it. And the universe hates not being able to change things. The only thing in the universe that you can put into a star, and the star cannot change the outcome of the behavior of that object. That is true power. That's a fascinating thing, isn't it? And then what does that do to you? Now, how does that alter your behavior? Feel pretty untouchable, wouldn't you? And what are the capabilities that come with that? Because obviously you're going to have to play around with all of these new elements, right? And what do they do? If you're already knocking out life and changing your life forms and perhaps understanding essence, you've had enough time to do so. Can you make a vessel from these new elements? Because not only do you know how to make stars, not only do you know how to create your own universe, but you now have learned enough, with enough time, universal time, that you now understand how to make life. Not just any life, yours, your vessels. Could you imagine extracting the essence of you and making life off a blueprint of what you are? This was handed to you. You weren't asked. No one was up. Do you want to come down to Earth? You want to come run with the mud? You want to come to the training grounds? You want to prove yourself, do you? You weren't asked. But you're being asked. Do you want to go on? Would you like to exist? It's interesting, isn't it? So all of this stuff, the body then was given. Here's what I did.
Yeah.
And then humans are like, or life forms, intelligent ones are like, you know what? I think this is good and thank you for it, but I think I could do it better. The universe will let me off, sure. You heard a load of this. It doubts you. It doubts you every step of the way. It does, yeah. I mean, it needs to. But anyway, and one trying to outdo the other. It's interesting. And at the end of the day, when the universe starts to wind down and the cycles, it wants to kill you all. It wants to turn you all back into neutral.
And start
over. Right? Whichever way that may go and transition from there. It doesn't really matter, but start over nonetheless. Wipe the data clean. Because corruption, right, if you want to call it that, or it starts getting a little bit too much, right? Planets will be getting bigger, stars are going to be getting bigger sooner or later. Anyway, so you've made these particular new elements, so you're way beyond anything that the universe can, but you might notice a pattern. Wait a minute, this looks like a super iron. Hold on, this looks like a super oxygen. Well, we know that there are isotopes of different oxygen. What happens if I breathe this isotope here? But in a planet over there somewhere that has oxygen on it, assuming that it does, under a different isotope, or what happens if me, the human, or you, breathe that isotope? Do we live longer? Does it supercharge the brain? It's a different... We are accustomed to this particular type of isotope, yes? Thankfully, largely to nature and different stuff like that, yeah? As it does. It's a reverse human. What is a reverse human? Nature. Fucked up, isn't it? It's quicker to grow potatoes. Have some chips with your fish. Stops you eating a plate full of fish. And plus, potatoes grow quicker than the fish, perhaps. You can farm them. Therefore, it slows down your food supply, and you can wax and wane off of the two. So it lasts longer is what it does. More to go around. And you'll also feel full, but you're also getting something. Interesting. So what happens if I then give these animals these isotopes? What does it change? Which, if I were to do that and notice that there was a change, then I'm going to be looking at these newer elements a little bit more different. I have something here that looks like a different type of oxygen, although it seems very, very reminiscent to it. Let's say it's supercharged. We're just assuming, doesn't really matter. You play with that how you want. Let's say if you build a whole body with, rather than that iron that's in your blood now, but a super iron. Let's try making that liquid. Because after all, you've got a whole freaking instruction manual. The answer is right in you and everybody else, right? At the moment, the universe made all of these things. Humans didn't. So it would be like us trying to start from scratch. God's like, right, come on, you guys. I'm going to give you some hands, give you some eyes. Really got a real big challenge for you lot. What's that? You see that void over there? Can you go and make a universe? Wait, what the fuck is a universe? However, what about if I put you in one that is a basic one? And then after this, I take you to another one, perhaps.
And then tell you are missing this, this, and this create.
Here's the void. This is a place here. Can you build all of that there? Yeah. Leave it with us. You would, why? Because you've just got a lot of lessons. Here, humans. Yes, God. Could you wrap a whole new universe around the essence of what you are? Interesting sort of process, Anyway, you can have fun with it. You run away with it as much as you want. At the end of the day, everyone's free to do so. So Venus, fascinating. And oh man, I'd love to crack these planets open like eggs. I really would. I absolutely would. I think that would be beautiful. I personally would have already flown a load of asteroids at Europa. I'd have kamikaze style whacked into Europa already and tried to see if you can shatter the thing from above, and then send a probe in afterwards, which would eject loads of transmission towers along the way, right? So as it's kamikaze style, one hits into Europa, fractures all of the, and it makes a nice big area for you to then come plunging in. As the probe that's coming in to plunge in, it's going to be very fast, right? It's going to send a lot of data, but it's perhaps sending it from Earth whilst it's gone beyond something, but perhaps sending it to something on Europa, on the surface, which then beams it up to the, let's say, atmosphere of Jupiter, because it's going to orbit around there. That grabs the signal and then shuttlecocks it over to this. Personally, I would make a space program where I was dropping these little beacons that allowed me to send a signal through this so that I could get decent data. I don't know whether it would be faster or not, but still,
decent.
At least a lot of data.
And reliable.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a lot of information, and probably watching along all the way. I would also have solar-powered probes around all of the planets, especially the more ones closer to the sun. Certainly, you would have it orbit. Okay, maybe the solar panels don't charge it up too terribly well, especially Venus. I'd have loads around that. Fucking every instrument you can imagine. And it would have I don't know, let's say a satellite orbits around, but it's always got room to be updated. And every single instrument that humans have ever made, stick it on it and orbit it around. And then you make some new ones, or perhaps come out with some new breakthroughs. And then you send these instruments to rendezvous with that satellite that's orbiting around, let's say wherever it may be, which planet, and it docks to it. And it eventually just keeps growing with your knowledge and your new tools. And you've got this massive array of instruments starting to build up, and I'd put these on every single planet. And the further away they are, sure, there's going to be less light. So it would orbit until it was charged. And if it took 4 months to charge, and it gave you 3 days worth of action, then how many probes would I need orbiting Mars to give me a constant stream of data back to the Earth? Yeah, see, that's another thing as well. And I'd also understand that perhaps power and problems are always going to be something that's going to happen, especially in these things. Perhaps the battery breaks, maybe the gases, they use gases to mix in these particular things. But yeah, I would have it orbit and also rotate, spin. So it was shown as back and front, but there would be dual solar panels. So even if it aimed this way, there'll be solar panels here, this side, this side. Why it would orbit was to keep it cool. Only when it was time to do the work, sunset, sunrise, perhaps. Seeing these areas in the rotation, follow that round. That'd be a beautiful thing. Keeps it out of the sun. So hopefully it stops it cooking. Keeps it cool. And keeps it charged. So, and then you get lots of data, real-time data. And maybe you don't see anything every day. All of this data comes in. But could you imagine storing all of that data and then running through it like a flick book? It's amazing what you see. You live in nature. You're not supposed to notice changes, the subtle ones, because, you're supposed to adjust to it. That's why it waxes out very slowly. If you notice that, from summer to winter, and also it's very, very slow, and you barely even notice it. So you walk down the same street every day, and you barely really notice that the buds are starting to come. Maybe you notice the buds, but that's a change. But are you noticing it really? Not really. You're walking past it every day, so it becomes a part of this growing is normal to you. So your brain and you as a human just dismiss it, all of this growth. So have you noticed how big a tree has got? No. If you've taken photos over it year in, year out, year in, year out, what if you did it every day? What if you did it every hour? What if you did it every second? What if you did it every nanosecond? Snapshot, 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 and then bring these all together. What are you going to see? The tree really grow, and it looks beautiful, and all of the things that you missed because you just ain't got time to sit there for the next 10 years watching a fucking tree grow. And even if you did, you wouldn't notice it. So even on a planet, it's very difficult to notice these things until you've got a lot of data coming in, and you can start flipbooking it. After 1,000 years of studying a planet, I think you understand how planets form and how they shape and all the subtle things, and you get to see it, wow, in real time, and you get to speed it up. You haven't got to wait. Now it becomes a part of your awareness. Now going forwards, you've just changed your behavior. Why? Because you've now got data that helps you understand a bit better about planets and evolution of the planets. Now, take it if I kept going with this, and left the planet, and a lot of what ifs. If you were running society, who knows? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Like the whole of it, that's where we would go. All of these ways, we would start looking at all of these things. Perhaps maybe together, maybe, who knows? This time round, perhaps it's this way. Maybe in a past life, who knows? But you've had a go at X, Y, Z. Who knows? Maybe in the future or whatever else. Maybe it's your turn next. Time means nothing, especially when you don't remember it. You don't remember the last one, but yet would you need to? No, because this This is the best way to do it. Well, these ones gave the maximum amount of life forms, protected everybody, took everyone from it this way. This is the one. This is how you make life forms. Anyway, so assuming that we continue,
Yeah.
and the universe cycles, do you know what I would do?
No.
I would film it.
Yeah.
That would be the next goal, whilst in the winter mode.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do when we break out of here, guys? Well, you know what? I'd love to see this universe from start to finish and repeat.
Yeah.
I would record it for the whole lifespan of the universe. Wouldn't that be fascinating?
Yeah.
And then stick it into fast forward mode.
Mm-hmm.
They would really get to understand and enhance your understanding. And what's more, can you see where the universe is going wrong? Now, let's say that we have a natural universe happening over here.
Yeah.
And while you're watching that from the, let's say the second cycle, and you've captured it all. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be on the second cycle, probably more like the 50th cycle, because of all data loss problems, trying to build whatever else. And then the technology changes halfway through. Shit in hell. You've got like black and white, mm-hmm. pixelated. Yeah. Sort of Edison moving picture somewhere sort of thing to start with in the universe, and then all of a sudden you've got wonderful, fucking better than I, HD fucking right in your face quality. And there's that, it's just a noise because it isn't in the same format, and there's that beginning and this difference, and I just want it to be so perfect, like run flawlessly in the same format. But then the next cameras come out, perhaps, if we're going to look at it as society. Shit, I want to capture all of these pictures again. Yeah, we got these last year. Yeah, I know, but look at this new camera. Have you seen the fucking pictures on here? These are awesome, aren't they? Look at that. Yeah, look, compared to the last one. Yeah, there is a difference, isn't there? And you look back through all your old pictures and like, I haven't got one of those phones and all my pictures suck. Means you just looked at somebody else's and it was like, see that picture? Yeah, I see it. I fucking see it. And you look at yours and you're like, it's like a stamp. From the 50s. Yeah, it's like something like a picture from the 50s. But anyway, yeah, so fascinating. Be able to see all of this transition rolling across, and you've got the natural universe over there, but you've got yours. While looking at yours, I noticed that you went wrong here. What happens if I move it this way? Well, that fucked up. Okay, you can never start with one universe. You need about 1 billion. Maybe even more than that, because as soon as you go in one direction with one, it starts to cluster. Well, it's a good job because I got this backup one, and now moved it. Oh shit, that didn't work. Shit. Next one. But again, they're going to need to be developing at these particular times, one after the other. Therefore, you're going to be able to understand that each time I made that change there, this happened. Somebody else over there made that change, and this happened. Now, that is fascinating. Mm-hmm. What happens if we combine both of these? Then this happens. Yeah. So we now understand 3 versions of a universe while looking at one. And then perhaps over 50 of these transitions, 1,000 cycles, there are fluctuations in differences that you would never ever have known, already hidden away from you. Mm-hmm. Well done, neutral ground. Don't worry, your secrets are safe with us. So, there's a lot going on, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, behavior and shaping and all of this sort of stuff. So, yeah. It's amazing what you could do if you think about it and where are you heading. Yeah. I want to be this. That's wonderful, but wouldn't you like some of this? And cloning and perhaps making your own body, making it better, making it out of other isotopes, sort of, who knows, you will learn an awful lot. What happens if we put life in this? By then, it wouldn't need to put life in it. Yeah. Don't worry, this wasn't testing on any life forms, artificial ones, but not life forms, so we kind of get away with it, What happens if you do this, and this, with these, and these? The computer's like, this might happen. I want to test how well you are. Because there again, you might get a lot of computer models that give you wrong answers, yeah? And you got to perfect those as well, haven't you? Got to narrow those until they get correct. Your predictions are good, but they're way out. Shift. But you watch it, that's where it went. Okay, all right. So you predict this is going to happen. All right, then. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah, I think this is going to happen, all right? Everybody, say what you think is going to happen. Let's see who has got the fucking best accuracy here. Mm-hmm. And then we want a group discussion. All of us together, which one, out of all of the ones that we've picked of our own, are there any others that you like? Yeah. The idea of that you think might win? I know you've got your choice. That's your first choice, perhaps. Or have you want to change it? You still keep your choice of your first. But do you want to change it into something else? What And then how many people agree with the same thing? Now versus AI versus individually versus as collectively, who's made the best prediction? Let's find out. We do the experiment. Maybe no one gets it right. What happens if the whole group gets it right? Now we start understanding about senses, this hidden thing that nobody understands. Which then starts to awaken you to it. Perhaps it was forgotten. Maybe you progressed further and further, and perhaps they decided to shut that out of history, and you all forgot about it, but no one passed it down, no one told. So you forget these things, and while playing around with this sort of stuff, you started noticing that people can make predictions that were far more accurate, but when it was a group, maybe individually, and these would be very fascinating. And AI, perhaps, needs to learn from the predictions to get correct in order to further its own understanding, because it has to learn from you individually and collectively. And it also needs to, you need to make the mistake. AI, perhaps, let's assume that it is AI, makes a calculation based on all of the data that's gone in for who knows how long. And when we have a look at that, and all of these predictions are wrong, and then we find out the answer in the outcome of the whatever it may be, you can then look at that evidence, think, right, how can we make this predict it? How did this not predict it? Well, you look at yourself first. When we want to ask AI, we thought from our behavior, because all of these things happened when we were on a dual rock, a dual planet stuck together. Fascinating. Never mind. And so could you imagine that? Anyway, but still, I'm going to leave this one here because we're getting too deep into this stuff. And as much as I enjoy it, and I do, I really do, maybe I'll leave some of these for another video. I think maybe I won't. Who cares? But still. So now we're creating life forms. Which one is the correct avatar for you? You'll know by feeling it. Never mind putting on how these clothes make you feel. Never mind that. How does this avatar make you feel? Well, it's good, but it's a bit stiff. Now I don't like it. I need to adjust it here. Put me back in. Okay, right, we're back in here. It was around here. It's a bit tight here. Maybe we could play around. Before you know it, you're shaping avatars, however they may look. And again, you're now starting to get ahead. Compared to any other life forms, primitive or otherwise, how much more protective are you? They now have to respond to you. Their behavior is going to change. Not straight away, of course not. No. No one ever does. They bend down to things and bow down to things that are higher than what they are. Hierarchies. Bullshit, mate. It really is, because really, is there anything hierarchy? Well, the universe has got hierarchy. Technically, it doesn't. Well, maybe it does. Maybe. Maybe it's protected by a load of life forms that have vowed to. Maybe. All depends on what their belief systems are. Could you have what would have made them desperate enough to leave their planet to do this? Or what have their whole life been about eliminating all of the things? Can you become perfect as life forms more time that you're given? Can you compress the data until you can become something that is so wonderful? And what's it like to live like that? That's the question. Will we feel like trees do? When the conditions are absolutely perfect for a tree or a plant or nature, just to stand there and happily exist. In a state of torpor. Why? Because the time means nothing if you are not going to die. Well, you will die. That's a lie. Unless there's essence, then you never lose your essence. Never lose your essence. The body may spill the essence out of it, but the essence is never lost. So, you know, those cups that knock over, if you knock a cup, there are these weird cups. Actually, they are dual in nature. That's why I fucking love them, because the idea is the bottom of the glass was supposed to be wobbly, yes? Yeah. So that if you went to knock it, it would spill the drink, which after all was cheaper than to buy glass. So it was to knock the drink, but to save the glass. That's a fascinating thing, isn't it? Like to make something like that, isn't it? So dual in nature, isn't it? Still lost my train of thought, but it doesn't matter. I am impressive beyond sleep. That's what I'm going to say. I am beyond it, and usually I'm a bit more. I don't know whether it makes me less or more, or it just makes me bouncy or scatty. You know, I kind of like different version of you shows up depending on your mood, I guess. So,
that's true.
But imagine a body that can knock out your essence. In the beginning, it's going to be done with cloning. Mm-hmm. You'll rely on clones until you get there. Maybe you can jump a chapter or 10 by playing around with stuff, but who knows? Until then, it's all about the body. The essence is something else. And then what could you put it into? And then what does existence feel like? And time. The only reason why time is so important to humans is because you die. That's it. Clock's ticking. You die. So you're going to do things that some that do not have this problem are not going to do. You are going to have worries that these are not going to have. And you don't ever want to try and start a war until you know whether these things can clone or not, because it would be pointless to attack something that couldn't die in the way that you understand it. Dead means gone. No, dead does not mean gone. Dead means gone from your perspective, because you're not beyond the perspective. If you have this capability, your perspective has now shifted. If you don't have this capability, your perspective is shifted. Only once you've traveled past that do you see it. You don't worry about things trying to take you on. In fact, my understanding of it with clones would be to test life forms. Give us your best. What you got? You're going to fire everything you've got. And we're going to make it look like you're winning. And you are going to have exhausted all of your weaponry, and we're going to have it. All of it. I'm going to backward engineer it like the universe. Very quickly, by the way. In fact, by the end of the day, you'll have a reply. So do what you need to. You've got to be very careful in a universe that is not understood. Yeah. So we have to walk with caution, especially primitive life forms. You have to walk with caution. So therefore, there are things you worry about. There are things that they don't. There are things that you are confident in, and there are things that confidence is one thing. Knowing is something completely different, and it blows confidence out of the way. Confident in your ability is one thing. Knowing the abilities and how to utilize them and when, something completely different. That's not a capability. And I would take that essence, the very essence that's been helping us survive, evolve. Could you imagine putting this into a craft? The craft builds itself. The ship builds itself with the same piece that used to go into building your bodies. It's no longer needed. But somewhere along the line, do you want to lose it? It walked with you for the longest time, guiding you silently in the background, changing you, making it so that you lose your hair, gain hair when you need it, water in your eyes, the right moisture in your body. You don't, by and large, have to take much. Could you imagine that? Walking around your body with a fucking pipette, making sure everything has got the liquid that it needs. Or you just take a drink and drink it and it does the rest for you.
Yeah, that's better, isn't it?
Thank you, universe, for that, because that's another load off of my fucking mind. Wouldn't you like to remove even more off of that? So in the beginning, if you got cloning, well, you've got more. You're not going to worry about going close to humans. Now, I don't mean humans, but I mean life forms, but still, assuming that way. Now, we say if humans do it, and you've got cloning, you're going to walk bold and balls and bronzely up to any other life form that you see, in the knowing knowledge that they can't do anything to you, only in that present moment of your clone. They might be able to eliminate that. But you are still here. You haven't died. You've just... Your awareness just shifted. That's all. That's all it is. And altering your awareness to be more aware in that moment with those other life forms, to be there with them. Very much in it, like it's everything. And the death under that would be like falling back into another awareness. You're still aware, but this awareness is dialed down. This one's maxed up. Under death of this particular strain, these ones become center stage of awareness. Then depending on whether you went into that, right, I want to go here. Okay. I'm going to have this This type of awareness. Yeah. When it ends, I want to be able to get on with this, this, and this. So these next ones are the awareness from there. So perhaps death from this one, awareness to here for something else, which is going to follow up from that. And it could already be planned before you even come down. Coming down means planet. However, it's not technically down, is it? Because it could be up depending on your orientation. And then we're going to put a label as which way's up and which way's down. I don't think it really matters. While looking at the planet, you say, oh, that way's up, that way's down. Well, what's this way? Well, that's forward, but it's still down. But then this is down, but then this is fascinating. Yeah, and that becomes a hard thing to understand from this side of the perspective. But if you get to the other side of the perspective, you begin to understand it. You know. Death, nothing. You haven't got to worry about certain things in that aspect, have you? No? What do it feels like to go inside that star? That is just fucking stupid, but I want to feel that too. I'll only be over and done with it. Death becomes something else. Fascinating. You don't fear it. You wonder what it feels. And what data can you get from that? Oh, so the body started. Oh, it failed here. Of course it did. Of course it. Can we strengthen that? Am I star resistant yet? Yes. Am I black hole resistant yet? Is the vessel disk resistant yet? Can I get past the neutral ground? What happens if I become neutral? Can I walk through neutral? Is it sort of like camouflage, right?
Yeah.
Since this universe loves that, doesn't it? Well, life forms most certainly do. Hiding from what? From enemies, from danger? What is being taught to you? Yeah, never ever experience or show your planet. Because then everything that... when we look into the universe, we've got to understand that there's a large level of learning. Tons of it. In order to even be able to build something, they must understand something about where they've come from. But on all of the outside, you're going to paint it, graffiti it, make it look exactly like it is. Basically, go and give out people encyclopedias of how humans and the earth and how they came to... Probably want to keep that probably to yourself, camouflage that stuff. Unless they know, whoa, they're going to have to spend a bit of time figuring you out. And that gives you enough time to also figure them out, assuming there is a them or they. Yeah. Although it's very rare life, don't get me wrong, but depends how far you make it. Interesting. Some are friendly, some are not. Just the way it is. Just the way it fucking is. And some just can't stand one another, but, you know, very much so. Interesting. It's better to have friends than it is enemies, isn't it? Do you think so, or do you not?
Yeah, I do.
I think things go a little bit easier, don't they? So, yeah, there we are. Right, I'm going to probably wind this one down. So, yeah, but many different things. We do things differently and respond differently and perhaps knock into each other differently. It's basically a suspended star, as much as you can configure that. It's fascinating how the moon is very little water. Very, very little. Hollow core. Very little. Unable to hold on to it. Yes, possibly. Oxygen, doesn't it have a very thin layer of oxygen? Very, very thin. Wonder what's inside that. So, yeah, fascinating. Interesting. Right, gonna leave it there. What's something I wanted to talk about was Europa, wasn't it? The fractures. There was something that I... yeah, it's just very much something about that. But anyway, leaving satellites that chain off of one off the other. So you'll be able to always send data. If these things rotate, active volumes of things happening and watching this stuff, even if it's recording, well, we've got some space, maybe a few gigs, maybe a few thousand billion trillion gigs, you know, which then puts the demand on more computers, more of this stuff begins to evolve. I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it? But yeah, fucking hell, we're digging up all of that. I'd love to cut all the planets open, wouldn't you? Crack them like eggs, pull them like crackers. Yeah, if I get too close to Jupiter, it's going to want to hurt me with its radiation. And we're going to turn your radiation off for a bit. Well, only God knows that. Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, see how big they are in reality.
Indeed.
Not the gas world, but what is there? Is there surface? Is it hard? Could it be warm? No.
Mm. Mm. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, I tell you what's more rare: double planets.
Double planets.
Yes, they are freaking rare. Mm.
Yeah.
Almost on the verge of being uncommon.
Yeah.
Freaking rare. Try and learn some shit from that. Interesting. Anyway, right. Let's. They look like certain meteorites.
Yeah. Huh?
Yes. They're very rare. Yeah. So lose the moon. Danger time. Danger.
Yeah.
Danger. And Io. Fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Jupiter exerts it on Io, but also Io is exerting it on Jupiter. The only thing is, with the moon, our moon is exerting something on us. How come we're not exerting it on it? That's fascinating, isn't it?
Maybe we are.
No? Oh, maybe it's because maybe we're a little bit more weirder than it appears. So what is the moon really made of? That would be a better question to ask entirely. That's lots of different things. Tunneling into that sort of stuff to bring up the treasure, so to speak. Yeah. Cool. Fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
And this is just with your Earth, but think about what you could do with your solar system.
Okay.
Suspending a star. Meaning suspending it, meaning cool it immediately, just before it. At what stage could you cool it? And assuming that you could clone a star. So rather than having everything orbit around a star, the stars begin to orbit a ring, and they begin to orbit perhaps in a very different way. Let's just assume that you could do that. I mean, and one in the sort of beginning stages, let's say, you were to freeze this one. Then 100,000 years go by and you freeze the next one. Let's say 250,000 years go by and you do another. Maybe 1 billion years goes by and you freeze another. And you keep on going all the way up. So you need X amount of stars. Cloning of the same type. At different stages, you froze it. Assuming that you could, then you cut it open to see, wow, at this stage, the star has this. Under these blood. Next one, this, and this. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, it's like watching a baby get developed in a womb. In stages. So, a different way of taking in nutrients in the beginning.
Yeah.
Then another way of doing it later on. Yeah, fascinating, isn't it? Different transitions or different trimesters. Same with the universe, different trimesters. No rocks, loads of rocks. So therefore, no shadow. Light. Let there be light. No. Let there be light and darkness. No. Let there be a middle. And let there be an either side or. The two orbit the neutral.
Yeah.
And when you've got these things orbiting, it shows you the middle.
Yeah.
Stars. Black hole, stars, black hole, right? So we could say star, light, black hole, darkness. We could say evil, we could say good, we could say this, we could say all of those things, couldn't we?
Yeah.
But while you're looking at either one of these, the universe is great with this, it stops you looking at the neutral. Why? This thing is contained inside an arena.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick either one of those in the arena, or do you want to become the arena? Which is it? I know I'd rather be the arena. Do I want to be a star? Do I? Hell, I know I don't. Maybe, actually. What does that feel like? Never mind. If you could. You would. So why not? What does it feel like to be a star? What does it feel like to be a tree? What does it feel like to be... Have you ever wondered that? If you had time and capability, would you spend time in a different vessel?
Yeah.
Experiencing it, dialed back at their level. Just to get some insight. And another version of you would be watching this, in a dialed back fashion to be able to send you the outside that you're feeling on the inside, and somewhere there's a middle ground for you to get, oh, okay, all right, that's why they do that. Okay, this makes sense. Oh, that's why they feel, that's what they're feeling. Well, they're feeling this. Now we're starting to get all feelings or perhaps pulls and instincts, and perhaps, now I understand this internally. Now I can see it externally. Can I factor this into my vessel? I could do with some of these skills. Huh. Good sense of, wow, yeah, that'll do. Got a bit of this. Eyes like a frickin' possum. A fucking squeak and ears like a bat.
Yeah.
Sonar like a dolphin. It is sonar, isn't it? Yes, it is, maybe. Yeah. What about to be able to see like a beluga? Now, that's a beluga doing it in an environment because it needs to, perhaps in water, perhaps communicate, perhaps mating, perhaps breeding, I suppose, no doubt, and feeding and better, right, food and all sorts, yeah? What would humans use that for? To do the same thing? No way would you. No. Fracking through the universe. Wonder why everything's pulsating right now. Do apologize for that. It will tone down eventually. Everything has to hum right now. So it's got a pulse and a resonant frequency. Don't worry about it. It's just a beluga version of something, just trying to figure something out. If you had these capabilities, what would you do with them? Use them in the water to go splashing around? Maybe you do that. Yeah, sure. No. Humans are very different hardware altogether. You take that capability in, figure it out. Well, after all, you've got time. Play around with it. It's like giving Einstein eternity. Oh, I already know what that little fucker would do. Absolutely everything. So like giving it to Tesla. Shit. Mother Teresa. Nice. And interesting, the sort of things that people do. You give more time to something and most things by and large are predictable. Give you more time, this is going to happen. But what about you lot, you little variables? What are you going to do? Well, that seems to be a little bit unknown, isn't it? What happens if you're given the information? Do you think they'll build it? All of this sort of stuff. When you talk about this sort of stuff, you're actively opening people's minds. Whether it's true or not doesn't need to be. By and large, whatever, that's what you believe. I believe it's true. You believe it may not be. Someone else may believe it is not. Someone might take 50%. Who cares, really? We're at the end of the day, really. Humans have got to be progressing somewhere. And you've got a lot of intelligence for what? For what? You have capability and intelligence. You have capability to lift everything off your planet. You have capability to understand all of the water and cleaning processes. If humans really wanted to, you would end up shitting in a massive vat somewhere, mixing this into a fuel source because it is a waste product anyway, putting it into a vehicle that gives you propulsion. Now, rather than sending out all of that exhaust into the environment, you would collect it and pressurize it. When you refuel, you're going to be also offloading. So you're going to have, you're going to be, this is a weird petrol station, isn't it? Refuel with a substance to create a propulsion. And the stuff that you've wasted is going to be the fuel that you're going to give back, compressed. Then you take that from a laboratory to used fuel, all of that stuff that's burnt and combusted, assuming that it combusts. You take that and you look at it and think, right, can I separate this? Yes, I can. All right, what do I need? Either I need fucking carbon, I need this, I need that. What do I need from this? Then next bit of that, okay, managed to make it safe enough. Now I can pull it onto this room here. It's big fucking cylinder injecting into there. And it's going to be fed to something. It's then going to convert those gases from perhaps the carbons or whatever else it may be. You can do anything. You're going to grow it into something. The trees make use of it. Who knows? And then all of that stuff is going to transition. Yeah. And from that, I can then release it into the atmosphere safely. All of this from your shit. If you really wanted to do it. It's a waste product anyway. It's fucking terrible shite. Could you imagine doing something with this stuff? Turning it into a fuel?
Turning it into something else.
God's like, come sit here. I don't know if he actually would have knees, but still, let's just assume it would. What did you do as a human? Well, we use shit to power ourselves. Hold on a second. I thought it was a waste product. Yeah, turns out it was a good waste product turned into a fuel product for something else. Bit like the world, really, isn't it? Some things, we could look at it as flies or whatever else, and breaking down all of this stuff, not just that bacteria and different other things, breaking down all of that crap, dung beetles and everything else. But what happens if you then, after that, ate the dung beetle to then create the dung for the other beetles to break down and for you to eat? And wow, what a balance! It's like a star and a black hole. It's like yin and fucking yang, shaking fucking hands. And something's in the middle looking at that going, oh yes, this can last. Planet? Not really. Your star? Probably not. But this is self-fulfilling prophecy. And then something in you is like, now you've done that, or anything else. I like to do it with a star and a black hole. That's universe. We're making universes, right? You could imagine doing stars and everything else, and perhaps still continuing on, and second cycle, and still the species are expanding. Oh my days, we're starting to get in like a jar like this in a craft somewhere, because whatever. Still, imagine a self-operating ship that uses that force from evolution and everything else. But now it's being put into something. If you understand it very well, and you put it into being able to operate the whole ship based off of that. And its protection is fascinating. You'll look at NATO, yes? Fascinating, yeah? Imagine if anything hostile came up to you, or your ship, with bad intentions. You don't even need to say fire or press a button. No, you don't need to do any of that. That little piece will be firing before you even realize it. You won't even know. It will take care of it. Do you reckon that with that type of creation in you that helps you survive extinctions, put into a fucking ship that knows things that you don't, that can calculate faster than humans can, it knows how to maintain your existence, put that into a ship and any other life form that comes up against it, there you are. You get through that, good luck if you can. And then you might have to get through some even more impressive stuff, because it's like layers of an onion. And by the way, even if you do get through it and eliminate that, you haven't truly eliminated it. And then eliminate that ship. And then how many fucking ships have we planted around here? You can knock out that one. See you in a bit. And then could you imagine if you had all of these everywhere? Like 100,000 versions of your species. So what? It's humans. How many is on the planet here? 9 billion? So let's say 9 billion clusters, and let's times this by 200,000. Now, let's talk about collective. These are clones. Many different areas, right? Eggs and baskets. I don't like that. I more like planets and life forms. You don't want to keep all of your life forms on one planet now, do you? Anyway, yes, same in the universe. We don't want to keep them all on one ship, do we? This is ludicrous. Anyway, there's so many cloning, might as well go with it. 200,000, lots of 9 billion. Come up against life forms that just wipe out one of your ships, so 199,000 life form versions of you left. But you just pissed us off. And we are all going to turn our attention to you as one big collective of 199,000 of us, and we're going to fire every fucking thing from every angle at your direction, your vicinity, and your area, assuming that these vessels went at you. How are you going to defend yourselves against that? Every single angle, like a star in reverse exploding. So stars explode in multiple different directions. Well, we like this a lot. Imagine us hitting you in the same way towards your planet. In every direction, like a star exploding but coming towards. Could you imagine that? You would do this, wouldn't you? Do you think humans would make capabilities that would do this? 199,000 lots of 9 billion turning all of their attention to you. My word, you wanted attention. You most certainly got it. But what type of attention did you want? Is that where humans want to be?
No.
You don't think humans want to be that?
Humans want to be
something you can't steal.
Attacked, right?
You can't go to war for it. Anyway, but still, imagine giving these pieces of information and then somewhere in the future, your lot rendezvous. That would be an interesting fate, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You want it? Yeah. Does that make us friends, or Because by and right, that means that we helped you. Don't want nothing from you apart from peace. You leave us alone, we leave you alone. Makes fair. Oh, the feeling's mutual. You want to fucking shake on it? Take a tentacle. Yeah. Might as well. Yeah. Why walk when you can fly? That would be like birds saying, why fucking fly when you can walk? They ain't saying it. They obviously enjoy that. I'd love to fly. Wouldn't you? That would be an awesome experience, wouldn't it? Well, lovely. But anyway, still, aliens and different things like that. I love to embody this stuff. I really do. These, I wouldn't like to call aliens because they're too advanced. That would be way too advanced. If humans did this, you couldn't call yourself aliens. That's so it's degrading. You degrade what you are. That's really degrading. An alien. Well, anyway, still fascinating. Very fascinating. Right, gonna leave it there. So still, just gives you a little bit of something to think about. Yeah. Don't fear. Never fear. Think. Actually, we should be doing this. That's right. That's what I needed to hear. Everybody started saying it. Everyone. We need to really start moving. We'd love to be this. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, from one life. If making you smile, I can see a Cheshire cat from here. So there's obviously a good feeling in that. So, yeah. But anyway, right, we're going to wind this one down. I do appreciate you having a conversation with me about this. Yeah. It is what it is. It isn't what it isn't. 50-50. But yeah, so embody stuff, deliver it, and just step away. And then disbelieve it. If it helps, then yeah, wax and wane. And yeah, it would all be about learning. Other life forms, you'd want to come down. What's it like to be you? What does it feel like? Oh, it's pretty shit most of the time, I'm not gonna lie. Man, you're heavy. It's heavy. This is heavy. You got a lot of noise in the past. A lot of it. Lots of noise. The brains are foggy. Nothing is clear. More. It takes a lot of ants to build a colony. I'll say, well, it takes the queen to pump out loads of... But then what came first, the queen or the ant? Who made who? Who built who? In this term of colony of ants and... So it didn't happen that way. It evolved that way. So it most certainly didn't rise up that way. That evolved. So the chicken or the egg? Planet or the life form? Star or the black hole? Which one is it? Well, you can't tell, can you? Did the black hole come first, or the gas, or the star? Which is the start of the cycle? The end, the middle, or the beginning? To be able to see this, you've got to pick a start point, haven't you? And a finish point. But that's your interpretation of it, isn't it? Yes, it is. It started here, it finished here. I mean, that's like a needle in a haystack. Which one is the beginning? Which one's the end? Which one's the real correct version, in or out? This way or this way? That would then be based on which one feels right. Which one gives you the most best feeling ever? Missing all of those sort of winters. Takes this long for the winter process here. Don't worry, we never experienced that. Would you ever want to experience? No, you don't want to experience that. Then you make your own abundance, then, don't you? By that point, you will be. But you've learned from. It was a free for the universe to give you this helping hand, free of charge. Did it cost you anything? No. And it did help all of you on this planet, every single one of us. For free. That's interesting, isn't it? You find that amazing. Not asked you for anything in return, not really. You want to traverse? Don't have to. Go extinct? Doesn't matter. Do, don't? Does it really matter? Not really. And then the question is asked. Do you want it? Do you want to live forever? Do you want to... The question is being asked right now as we're all living. You want more of this? This is too much? We shut it down, or do we go extinct? Sure as shit, if something's made you aware of it, it is asking you a question, but not in the way that you perceive the questions to come in. It's going to talk to you like a fucking human. No. No. It's going to talk to you in a way that it understands. And you understand it. And we do, but we just overlook it. Deliberately. Weird, isn't it? We overlook it. It's just coincidence, fluke, and nothing more, nothing less. Just, that's what it is. It's more than that, for sure. So, and yes, I want to say one more thing because I want to leave this on a very good positive note. Something must be truly impressed with humans in order for it to unlock it. It sees potential, but we shouldn't take that too far because it also saw potential in the past. It's still here, by the way. It didn't wipe it out completely. Not truly. Never is it truly. And this universe loves to miss itself. Did you know that? Loves it. Longs to miss. You only love summer because you miss it. You love the winter because you miss it. When it becomes really hot, you love the winter. You will it to come. Then it gets really cold and then you will the summer to come again. You miss it because it's gone. Life is precious. You missed your loved ones when they cross. Mm-hmm. That missing is supposed to trigger something in you. Does it have to be this way? No, that's when you ask these questions, doesn't it, the answers start to come out that no, it doesn't. But being ready and responsibility, isn't it, about giving eternal life to certain things is, in some ways. Yeah, there's a responsibility to be had, I think, in that understanding, I'm pretty sure if humans ever did make eternal existence, who's going first? Assuming there's a hierarchy. You first? I think I'm going to stand down. You try it first. Everyone's going to be like, I don't know. I'll fucking do it. You will? Ah, yes, I fucking will. You want to have a go with that? All right. Let's have a little go. Why would you want to have a go at doing that? Well, I got a question, right? What if you are eternal being already? You come in a temporal fashion in a body that was made purely just to live here and just experience life as humans. And then humans start making eternal existence. And now you're a fucking eternal version of you as in the eternal. It'd be like your little spies, wouldn't it? Don't you think? Yeah. Put them in with life forms. That's amazing, isn't it? Anyway, and then you're eternal inside the eternal inside the eternal. This will be an interesting sort of awareness. Do you reckon I could start connecting to the other? You would ask these questions, wouldn't you? Would you ever try that? Could you imagine that? Hey, Frank's gone down to that planet over there where all those life forms are. Yeah? What's so new about that? We know that. Yeah, but as Frank has gone down there, the bastard, how lucky is that, right? Not only did he get eternity once here, smack him while he's sitting there. He's not aware. He's aware here. And as Frank is down there, the bastard, the jammy cunt, they're going to give him eternal life down there and here. How did you get it twice? That would be an interesting... Yeah. All right, pull him out. Wait, what? Pull him out. Okay, right, we're going to go back down there again. They're on the verge of eternity. You want to do this, and this. Get in there a little bit more higher, and then we'll see if we can try and... Do you want to try it? Yeah, all right. What's the code word? If we see things start fucking up for you, we'll pull you out. We'll end the eternity, and then people will be like, how did that... Oh, wait. The one person that eternity didn't work for. There'll be stories, like the reverse Jesus. The one person that eternity didn't work for. Humans would start having this new belief system, whilst these other life forms would be like, yeah, we got you out. They pulled them out. That would be an interesting thing, because you've made a sort of an illusion, in a way, to the ones around. They're perceiving it the way they want to perceive it. Bit like your brain autocorrects texts. Yeah, brains built autocorrects before I think computers did. That's an interesting thing. But you've already got to understand the thing before it autocorrects. One eye is more responsible for things that protrude inwards, and one eye is more responsible for things that point outwards. When these are so close together, it gives you the illusion that they're working as one eye, but yet one eye can cope with one eye can cope with the other. And this will give you a little bit more for distance judging and all sorts. Wonderful process, really, isn't it? Imagine that. Fucking hell. If you had one eye, do you reckon you'd have less capabilities across the whole if you're Cyclops? I mean, how does the eye evolve in that way? I mean, maybe it will turn into one eye, perhaps. I doubt it. The capabilities will keep on. Perhaps one ear is more responsive to a slightly higher pitch, the other one is more responsible for a lower pitch. I've got to play around with those microphones. You know, I can make sounds with my ears. One slightly higher, one slightly lower. Low frequency and a high frequency. And certain times, sometimes you get that high ringing in the ears. Yes? That sound is in one ear more so than the other, and a lower frequency as well. This also helps for sleeping and shutting down and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. Perhaps in certain circumstances it triggers more. Fascinating, but you can either play a sound or hear sound. And at the same time as making a sound, a frequency, you can still hear sounds. How does that work? So the microphone, as it does, becomes a speaker when you plug it in. Did you know that if you took a microphone and plugged it into a headphone jack, you can hear music playing out of it? Actually made some wicked headphones once. Anyway, the desperate times called for desperate measures, but it's still very tinny. And the reverse, it makes a microphone and the ear seems to do the same. Isn't that weird? That is fascinating. I find this stuff beautiful. Yin and yang, you know. Yeah, let's wind this one down. There we are. So, yeah. But positive note, something must favour you. Well, as times are now. Because it wouldn't have unlocked you and made you aware. And more aware, and give you more capability to do something about it with all of the information of the awareness and everything else. And lots of life forms means lots and lots and lots. Anyway, still, if cloning becomes a problem, different things like that, it moves. Anyway, so progress. The essence is then looked at. Why is the essence looked at? Because cloning has a limit to what and how much you can do. Essence? Now that is an interesting thing. The awareness makes you desperate to find the soul. The bit that makes you you, the feels. That keeps all of these operating mechanism structures that you've designed. Whether it's authentic or not, you never really truly know. Because it still looks, acts, operates. But is it? You never truly know. Interesting, isn't it? Fascinating. Anyway, right, let's leave it here. Good. It's been fun. I enjoyed it. That was a good one.